When someone returns after a period of absence, it's easy to get caught up in the emotions of the moment. The initial reaction might be relief, excitement, or even a sense of validation. But the truth is, their return isn't an automatic restart. It's not about picking up where things left off. This is a crossroads, a chance for you to step back, assess, and decide if their presence aligns with who you are now. Time apart changes things. It changes them and it changes you. You are not the same person they left behind. Growth happens in the in-between moments, the quiet times when you're forced to sit with yourself and rebuild. During this time, you've likely learned new things about what you want, what you need, and what you deserve. Their return, therefore, is not just about them, it's about how their presence fits into the person you've become. This reevaluation starts with clarity. Take a moment to understand their reasons for coming back. Is it because they genuinely see your worth now? Is it because they've grown and are ready to meet you at your level? Or is it because they're seeking comfort, familiarity, or an easy solution to their own uncertainty? Their words might be compelling, but actions speak louder. Observe what they do, how they approach you, and whether their behavior matches the growth and effort you've put into yourself during their absence. This is also a moment to reflect on the relationship as it was. Were there patterns that didn't serve you? Were there compromises you made that left you feeling unfulfilled? The time apart has given you the gift of perspective, and now you can see things more clearly. Ask yourself if the relationship as it was truly supported your happiness and growth. If not, are they showing signs that things could be different this time? Your power lies in your ability to choose, not based on fear of losing them again, but based on what truly aligns with your values and needs. This isn't about being harsh or dismissive, it's about being discerning. It's about protecting the peace you've worked so hard to cultivate. You are not obligated to accept someone back into your life simply because they've returned. You have the right to set boundaries, to ask questions, and to ensure that any reconnection is rooted in mutual respect and alignment. This process of reevaluation is empowering. It shifts the dynamic from one of passivity, waiting to see what they'll do, to one of agency, where you actively decide what's best for you. Their return might open a door, but it's up to you to decide whether to step through. Ultimately, their return is not the end of the story, it's the beginning of a new chapter. How that chapter unfolds depends on whether their intentions, actions, and growth align with the person you've become. This is your moment to choose not just them, but yourself. When someone returns after a period of absence, it's natural to feel a wave of emotions, excitement, curiosity, or even vindication. But the most critical thing to remember in such moments is the importance of protecting your peace. The time apart has given you the space to grow, heal, and reflect, and now your well-being must remain your top priority. No matter how sincere their return may seem, it's essential to approach the situation with caution and a clear sense of your boundaries. Protecting your peace begins with understanding what it means. Peace isn't just the absence of conflict, it's a state of inner harmony, where you feel grounded, secure, and authentic in your life. It's the calm you've cultivated through self-reflection, the strength you've built by weathering storms, and the clarity you've gained by letting go of things that no longer serve you. When someone re-enters your life, it's crucial to evaluate whether their presence will contribute to that harmony or disrupt it. The first step in maintaining your peace is to listen not just to their words, but to your own instincts. Their return may come with apologies, explanations, or declarations of change. While these may be meaningful, they are not guarantees of alignment with your current state of being. Pay attention to how their energy feels. Do you feel calm and supported in their presence, or do old wounds and insecurities resurface? Protecting your peace means trusting yourself enough to recognize when something feels off, even if it's hard to articulate. Next, be intentional about setting boundaries. The time apart has likely helped you realize what you're willing to accept and what you're not. If their return comes with demands, expectations, or pressure, it's a signal to reaffirm those boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, they're guidelines that ensure your relationships are built on mutual respect and understanding. By setting and enforcing them, you're not being selfish or unkind, you're simply safeguarding the inner balance you've worked so hard to achieve. Protecting your peace also involves being patient. You don't have to rush to make decisions or provide answers. If they're genuine in their intentions, they'll respect your need for time to process. Use this time to observe their actions. Words are easy, but consistent behavior over time will reveal their true intentions. Are they willing to do the work required to rebuild trust, or are they looking for a quick fix to their own discomfort? Finally, remember that protecting your peace isn't about closing yourself off, it's about prioritizing your well-being. It's about ensuring that your relationships enhance your life rather than deplete it. Their return doesn't mean you have to compromise the stability and growth you've achieved during their absence. Instead, it's an opportunity to stand firm in your values, honor your journey, and make decisions that align with the life you're building. In every interaction, let your peace be the guide. If their presence aligns with it, embrace the possibility. If it doesn't, know that you have the strength to walk away. Your peace is your power, and it's worth protecting at all costs. When someone returns after a period of no contact, it's tempting to interpret their reappearance as proof of your completeness or value. But the truth is, you were whole long before they left, and you remain whole regardless of their return. Recognizing this is not just empowering, it's transformative. Your sense of self doesn't hinge on anyone else's actions or presence. It's rooted in the unshakable knowledge that you are enough, exactly as you are. Being whole means understanding that your identity isn't defined by relationships, breakups, or reconciliations. You are a multifaceted individual with dreams, passions, strengths, and vulnerabilities. These qualities exist independently of anyone else. When someone leaves, it may create a void in your life, but it does not leave you empty. That void is simply space that you can fill with growth, self-discovery, and the things that genuinely nourish your soul. It's in this space that you often rediscover the core of who you are. Without the distractions of another person's needs or expectations, you have the opportunity to focus on yourself in a way that might have been overlooked before. You can reconnect with your values, your purpose, and the things that bring you joy. This process isn't about fixing yourself or preparing for someone else's return. It's about embracing your completeness, flaws and all, and recognizing that you have everything you need within you to lead a fulfilling life. When someone returns, it can be easy to let their presence overshadow the progress you've made. But it's crucial to remind yourself that their return doesn't complete you. It simply offers an opportunity for reconnection if it aligns with your path. You are not the same person they left. The time apart has allowed you to grow, to heal, and to strengthen your sense of self. Their return should never diminish that growth. Instead, it should serve as a reminder of the strength and resilience you've cultivated. Being whole also means understanding that your happiness and fulfillment are your own responsibilities. When someone leaves, it's not a reflection of your worth, but often of their journey. Similarly, when they come back, it's a reflection of their realization, not a confirmation of your value. You were already valuable before they left, and their presence or absence doesn't change that fundamental truth. This perspective shifts the dynamic. Instead of waiting for someone to complete you or validate your existence, you approach the relationship from a place of abundance. You're not looking to fill a void or meet an unmet need. Instead, you're open to sharing your wholeness with someone who respects and values it. If they fit into the life you've built, that's wonderful. If they don't, you know you're still enough. Your wholeness is your strength. It's the foundation that carries you through every high and low, every moment of loss and reunion. It's not something anyone can give you or take away. It's yours and it's unbreakable. You've been through the silence, the space, the time apart, and then one day they come back. Maybe you're surprised, maybe you're expecting it. But here's the truth: when someone returns after a season of absence, it speaks volumes not just about them, but about you. Sometimes life has a way of revealing things slowly, like the ocean uncovering treasures buried beneath the sand. People walk away thinking the grass might be greener, or they take the time to figure out what's missing. And when they come back, it's often because they've realized the value they couldn't see before. That value isn't something you begged for. It's not something you chased, it's who you are. This isn't about ego, it's about recognizing your worth. There's a lesson in patience and strength in letting go without chasing. When you respect yourself enough to say, if you're meant to see what I bring, you'll see it on your own. You show the world and yourself what it means to live with integrity. People don't come back to emptiness, they come back to fullness. Fullness of character, fullness of love, fullness of purpose. If someone left and you spent that time building, growing, and becoming better, they're returning not just to who you were, but to who you've become. And that, my friend, is a powerful thing. But here's the challenge: their return is not a guarantee of reconciliation. Their return is not your validation. It's a crossroads. You get to decide, you get to evaluate. Do they align with who you are now? Are they worthy of the person you've become? Because while they were finding themselves, you were doing the work, putting in the effort, becoming stronger, wiser, more grounded. When they come back, it's not your job to pick up where they left off. It's not your responsibility to make them comfortable. Your responsibility is to honor your growth and to protect your peace. So when the silence breaks and they knock on the door again, remember this: you're not the same person they walked away from. And that's your power. They've seen the light you carry, and now it's up to you to decide if they belong in its glow. Keep growing, keep shining, and let your light guide your choices. If they return, it's because they saw something undeniable. But never forget you were whole before they left, and you'll stay whole no matter what happens next. Now, your worth isn't something that fluctuates based on someone else's recognition. It doesn't rise when they return or fall when they leave. True worth is constant, unshaken by circumstances or the actions of others. When someone returns after no contact, it might feel like validation, but the truth is, your value existed long before their absence and remains just as strong in their presence. This is where the power of perspective comes in. Often people confuse someone's return with an endorsement of their importance, but your importance was never in question. It's not up for debate. It's the fact that someone took time, space, or distance only to come back doesn't increase your value. It reveals their realization of something they missed. That's their journey, not yours. You were always worthy. You were always enough. When you truly embrace your self-worth, you understand that it's not contingent on external factors. It's rooted in who you are, in your character, and your ability to love, to grow, to stand firm even when things feel uncertain. You don't need someone else to affirm what you already know deep down. Their return can be acknowledged without letting it define your sense of self. People often leave, not because of a lack in you, but because they are searching for something in themselves. They might need time to realize what they had, to process their own feelings, or to face their own struggles. That process, while meaningful for them, has nothing to do with your intrinsic value. The absence doesn't mean you weren't enough. It means they needed to see things from a distance. And when they come back, it's because they've recognized something undeniable about you. But recognize this: the realization is about their clarity, not your worth. This understanding changes everything. It gives you the freedom to approach the situation with confidence and peace. You're not desperate for their return because you've never needed their presence to validate who you are. You're not shaken by their absence because your foundation is solid. Your worth is a constant, a steady force that remains intact, regardless of who comes or goes in your life. It's a profound shift in mindset when you realize that love, respect, and recognition are things you give to yourself first. When someone else sees and appreciates that, it's a bonus, not the source. Their return, while it might feel significant, is only one chapter in your story. The central theme remains the same: you are whole, complete, and valuable on your own. So when someone returns, let it be a moment of reflection, not a moment of validation. See it as evidence of your light shining brightly, but don't let it define your brilliance. Your worth was never in question. It's a truth you carry with you always, no matter who is standing beside you. Patience is a powerful virtue, not a passive waiting, but an active form of strength. It's the ability to hold your ground and let life unfold without forcing outcomes. When someone leaves, the instinct to chase can be strong, driven by fear, insecurity, or the desire for resolution. But there is tremendous dignity in resisting that urge. True patience is rooted in self-respect, in the knowledge that your worth doesn't depend on convincing anyone to stay. It's saying, I trust the process, and I trust myself enough to let this play out as it's meant to. When you let go with integrity, you're not being indifferent or uncaring, you're creating space for clarity. In that space, two things happen. First, you allow the other person to fully experience their decision. People often need to step away to understand what matters to them. If they're constantly pursued, they might not have the chance to reflect. Patience gives them the room to come to terms with their own emotions and choices. It lets them see the value of what they had or the lack of alignment, which is equally important. Second, you allow yourself to stand tall in your own strength. Choosing patience over desperation reinforces your boundaries. It tells the world that you respect yourself enough to wait for what aligns with your worth. This isn't about pride or playing games, it's about choosing authenticity over manipulation. When you let go with integrity, you say, I'm not going to fight for something that doesn't feel mutual. I'm going to let time reveal what's true. Patience requires trust not in the other person, but in yourself. It's trusting that if they're meant to return, they will, and that if they don't, you'll still be okay. Trusting yourself means believing in your ability to handle the outcome, whatever it may be. It's a quiet confidence that says, I don't need to chase what's already mine, and I don't need to force what's not. This trust is the backbone of your integrity. The beauty of integrity is that it frees you from regret. When you act with integrity, you can look back and know you honored yourself in the situation. Even if things don't work out, you haven't compromised your values. You haven't stooped to desperation or manipulation. Instead, you stood firm in your principles, letting time and truth guide the way forward. Patience is not passive. It's a powerful, active choice that requires courage and discipline. It's the decision to let go without bitterness, to remain open without expectation, and to focus on your own growth in the meantime. It's an act of self-love, one that prioritizes peace over chaos and authenticity over control. In patience, you find your strength, and in integrity, you claim your power. When the moment of clarity arrives, when someone returns or chooses to stay away, you'll know you handled it with grace, standing firm in who you are. Time apart is often painted as a void, a space where nothing seems to grow. But that's far from the truth. Separation, though painful, is fertile ground for personal growth. It's in these moments of solitude that transformation begins. When someone leaves, it creates a pause, a forced stillness that invites introspection. And while the other person may be on their own journey, the time apart becomes your opportunity to focus on yourself, to reflect, to heal, and to grow into a stronger version of who you were before. Growth during separation is not about proving anything to anyone else. It's not about becoming better so someone will regret leaving or feel compelled to return. True growth is personal. It's about aligning with your values, nurturing your passions, and rediscovering the parts of yourself that may have been overshadowed in the relationship. This process is deeply empowering because it shifts the focus back to you. It's about asking yourself, what do I want? What makes me feel alive? How can I become the best version of myself, regardless of anyone else's presence? In this time, you may confront the uncomfortable truths you had avoided. You might realize patterns that didn't serve you, beliefs that held you back, or habits that drained your energy. Growth requires facing these realities, no matter how painful, and committing to change. It's not about perfection, but about progress, small, meaningful steps toward a better understanding of yourself and your needs. A separation is also a chance to rediscover your passions and priorities. Perhaps you had put certain dreams on hold or neglected parts of yourself to accommodate the relationship. Now, you have the space to reignite those ambitions, to dive into the things that make you feel whole and fulfilled. Whether it's pursuing a creative outlet, focusing on your health, deepening your friendships, or exploring new interests, this time can become a season of rediscovery. As you grow, you also build resilience. Separation tests your strength, your patience, and your capacity to endure uncertainty. It teaches you to rely on yourself, to find comfort in your own company, and to create your own happiness. These lessons are invaluable. They fortify you, making you less dependent on external validation and more anchored in your own sense of self. When someone returns after a period of no contact, they often find a different version of you, not necessarily because you've changed everything about yourself, but because you've grown into more of who you are. This growth isn't about impressing them or anyone else, it's about honoring your journey. Their return, if it happens, is not the reward for your transformation. It's simply an acknowledgement of the light they now see in you. The time apart isn't a void, it's a chapter of growth. It's where you reclaim your power, refine your values, and emerge stronger. Whether or not someone else recognizes that transformation is secondary to the profound relationship you build with yourself during this time.